Today I want to look at some alternatives to a Case Sod Buster Jr. This is such a popular knife. Most of the knife channels brag on this as an essential part of your everyday carry. But are there any better knives that could be carried instead of a Sod Buster Jr.? This is an old timer 50TG. This is a lockback. This is in 1095, and it does hold an edge better than Case's carbon steel. This one is marked CV. You can see it has a nice patina on it. This old timer is just starting to get a patina on it. But this is definitely better blade steel. You can see it's a little thinner behind the edge. I've had to put my own edge on this. So you can see the bevel is quite a bit wider. Feel that? And if I check the shade is definitely thinner behind the edge. So this is a better slicer. Very similar type belly on the two knives, but an advantage of the Schrade is it actually has a good usable point. Where the Sod Busters, the way they come, the point's kind of blunt. I should not be able to do that to the knife. So that's one possible alternative. It's going to be the 50TG. Another knife that I really like is this Boker Lockback. This is another similar sized knife. It's more of a spear point, so it doesn't have quite as much belly, but this is just a beautifully constructed knife. This is another step up in blade steel. This is D2. So this one will hold a phenomenal edge. It's also the same size knife. So that would be another good alternative to carrying a Sod Buster. Now we can look in Case's own lineup. And we can look at the small copper lock. Again, this is a very similar sized knife. As far as the blade and handle goes, the handle is a little bit smaller as far as the height of it goes. Length is pretty similar. You still have belly, but you gain that very nice tip that you can use for piercing. So I think this is another good alternative. And it is not bad to have a locking knife. So there's 3 locking knife alternatives to a Case Sod Buster. It'll all get you in the same size range. This one will be just a little bit heavier duty, but it'll get you in the same size and weight range. And I think give you more capabilities and more safety. Now again, staying in Case's lineup, this is a Canoe. Now if you compare the Canoe to the Sod Buster, you'll see you still have quite a bit of belly. It's a little bit shorter blade length. You have a very similar handle. But with the Canoe, you do get one big advantage. You have a second blade. So I think the Canoe knife is actually a good alternative to the Sod Buster Jr. Again, you gain some additional capability with the extra blade. This one also is in 1095 steel, which I found Case's 1095 steel is better than their CV steel or their steel marked CS. You don't really know what that is exactly, but the 1095, you know exactly what it is, and you're guaranteed to get the same thing every time. So I would go with Case's 1095 over their other carbon steel variants. Now moving up into a higher price range, this is a Jack Wolf Javalina jack. And I think this is their closest approximation of a Sod Buster. I know recently they came out with another model that people are saying was like a Sod Buster, but when you compare these two side by side, you'll see the handle lengths are the same, the blade lengths are the same. The belly is almost identical, except for the fact that the Jack Wolf comes up a little higher and has that point that's so good for piercing. Your handle contours are about the same. They both curve down. So does the Jack Wolf, although Jack Wolf just a little bit more so. So I see both these are very close together as far as size and weight and how they carry. The difference is in materials, of course. The Jack Wolf is put together far better than any case knife. And this is also an S90V blade steel. And it is ground nice. It's pretty thin behind the edge. This is an incredible slicer. I think this is a huge step up from a Sod Buster, if you can afford one of these. This is just a quick look at your Sod Buster and some other knives that are excellent alternatives if you want something more than what just the Sod Buster has to offer. We'll see you on the next one.